Hello and welcome. We're joined now by Fox NFL analyst Tony Gonzalez and Super Bowl champ Seth Joyner. Let's start in New England, where the Patriots traded Jimmy Garoppolo to the 49ers for a second-round pick last night. The trade means that Bill Belichick is going all in on 40-year-old Tom Brady for the foreseeable future, especially since New England doesn't even have a backup quarterback on the roster right now. Here's Brady on the trade.
I don't know what that means. I mean, this is a week-to-week league. I mean, things change so quickly from week to week, year to year. In my mind, this is all about, this season and us trying to win, and I'm trying to, do the best I can do for our team like I always do. I'm going to bring it every single day like I've tried to do for the last 18 years. I'm focused on this season. I'm sure that's where, everyone else in our organization is focused. Got a bye week this week, and we're going to go out and try to win next week.
All right, Cowherd, Bill Belichick and the Patriots just pushed all their chips in on a 40-year-old legendary quarterback. Smart move?
Well, yeah, because I don't see signs of erosion with Tom. And there's also something going on here. I talked to Michael Vick about this yesterday. Over the last 10 to 12 years, there's been an explosion of 7-on-7 camps where junior high and high school quarterbacks are getting like real coaching. And the bust rate of quarterbacks is going down. We have a quarterback now that's a 6th-rounder, Tyrod Taylor. Dak's a 4th-rounder. So's Kirk Cousins. Russell Wilson's a 3rd-rounder. Last 10 first-round quarterbacks, 1 bust. The bust rate's going down. College football in the last 4 to 5 years is giving us now, not one, it did for years, about 3 quarterbacks a year. Trubisky can play, Wentz can play, Dak can play, Goff can play. I think Brady, I think Belichick looks at that and says, I got my guy for 2 years, I'll find 1 in 2.
You're avoiding the fact he's 40 years old. Yeah. They don't have a quarterback on the roster. They're going to probably pick up Brian Hoyer. Everything's now resting on a 40-year-old quarterback who's getting sacked a lot. And if you look closely, your boy Greg Cosell, I think, is right and wrong about Brady. There is a slippage in play, but I don't think it's about his accuracy. I think it's about red zone efficiency. Brady can't move, and when you drop 8 guys back into a zone in the red zone, the only way for the quarterback to create throwing lanes is to move in the pocket. That's why they're struggling, and they haven't scored over 24 points in the last 4 or 5 weeks. I just think this may be too much being put on Tom Brady at 40. There's still 8 games in the regular season left.
I don't know. I'm okay with it. I am.
I'm okay with it, too.
I am.
I mean, listen, the reason why they made this move is because they couldn't get Jimmy Garoppolo signed to a long-term deal. You are not about to sign 2 quarterbacks and pay them both $20 million. Tom Brady has taken a discount every single year for this team, and I'm sure they're making it up on the back end somewhere in some business deal with Robert Kraft somewhere. But, if anybody's deserving of the big contract, it's him. But he's taking a discount, and they couldn't get this guy done. At 40 years old, I mean, think about this. At 40 years old, Tom Brady is the best he's ever been. Ever been. Because you can't show him anything he hasn't seen. You can't disguise anything he hasn't seen. You can't do anything to this guy that he hadn't seen. And the only thing that will prevent him from continuing to succeed in this game, as long as he wants to play, is whether they can protect him or not, and whether they get the weapons that he needs for him to be successful. That's it. He's the best he's ever been, Jason. And you said he wasn't going to hold up?
But listen, and clearly they think he's going to play longer, and he is going to play longer. I thought this was his last year. I got to admit I was wrong. He's planning on playing more.
Why do you guys keep – you don't believe him when he says he wants to play till 45?
No, I believe it now.
I believe
him.
I was wrong. He works with Tom House, who's out here, the throwing guru for the pitchers and the quarterbacks. He works with Drew Brees, saying the same thing. I want to play till I'm 45 years old. Tom Brady, the way he takes care of himself, that whole diet that he's selling in his book, his sleep underwear, his sleep chambers, eating hickory nuts and trail mix and kale chips and all that stuff. He's doing anything and everything because he's obsessed with the game of football. Right. So I believe him. And then Belichick, back to your point. Tom Brady's a 6th-round draft choice. You forgot about him. I think Belichick and Josh McDaniels and the way they run that program and doing an offense, defense, they bring players in, they develop players around their strengths. They're not worried about this. They're going to go get Brian Hoyer to back up Tom.
I don't know if they really want Brian Hoyer.
Or somebody's going to come in.
By the way, remember, this team is very much led by Brady, the defense. But watch what's happening in Pittsburgh. where in New Orleans this year, where they're asking Breeze and Big Ben to throw less. remember, Edelman comes back next year. They may spend their draft picks next year on defense, lower the scores. They may not ask Tom to be as Brady-centric next year as this year. Now, this is clearly a Tom-led team.
Right, but here's what the positioning. I'm just thinking about this season. And again, clearly he plans to play longer than this season. I was wrong. But this season, if something happens to your 40-year-old quarterback...
Well, they're not winning anyway.
Huh?
They're not winning with Brissett.
No. If they had... Would you not have kept Garoppolo? Let's say Garoppolo, you keep him and you lose him for nothing, but you win the Super Bowl this year. My focus would all be on this year.
See,
I would have kept Garoppolo, let him walk, and make sure I win a Super Bowl this year.
How are you going to let them walk? They just got a second-round draft. See, this is why the Patriots are better than everybody else and why they win more Super Bowls than everybody else, because they're always ahead of everybody else. Now, who would have thunk that they could have got a second-round draft pick for Jimmy Garoppolo at the trade deadline? Who would ever thought that could happen?
They could have got a first, maybe, if they had traded him during the offseason.
That's all, but that's all fine and dandy, but all we can deal with is what's going on right now. Look at what Tom Brady is doing. He's third in passing TDs with 16. He's fifth in completion at 66%. He's second in passer rating with 106. And he's 40. And doesn't matter. He's getting it done. 40 is the new 20.
Kobe Bryant had 60 points in his last game. Athletes they've evolved. They eat better, they sleep more. Yeah.
Hey guys, it's Jason McIntyre. Are you ready to save money and play more games? Then let me introduce you to our sponsor, GameFly. GameFly is the best way to buy and rent all your favorite games. At GameFly.com, pick your favorite games and have them mailed directly to your door. GameFly is the leading video game rental service with over 9,000 titles to choose from. With GameFly, you can try your favorite games and movies before you buy. Plus, you keep the games as long as you want. You'll never have to worry about late fees, and you can cancel at any time. They now offer movie rentals on GameFly too. Go to GameFly.com/speakforyourself and start your free premium 30-day trial today. That's GameFly.com/speakforyourself. The premium trial allows you to check out 2 games and/or movies at a time. You can only get this offer by visiting GameFly.com/speakforyourself. Now go sign up and start playing all your favorite games absolutely free for 30 days.
To Jimmy G's new team, the winless 49ers. They'll introduce the quarterback today. GM John Lynch, good dude, only had to give up a second-round pick to get him, right? Which was a lower price tag than most people expected. The 49er fans might want to hold off on celebrating, though. None of the quarterbacks who have left Belichick have done much of anything with their new teams. Whitlock, will the 49ers regret trading for Jimmy G?
Regret's a strong word because, look, it's like when I go, you place a bet and you have a chance to win. You take someone on the money line and they had a chance to win. It was a good bet. Even though you lost, it was a good bet. Jimmy Garoppolo is a good bet that may blow up in their face because nothing that leaves New England is better than when it leaves New England than what it was. From assistant coaches to players to Scott Pioli, general manager, they all fall apart without Belichick. But do I believe this is a good bet on Garoppolo? Yes. So I don't believe they'll regret it, but it could blow up.
I think they'll be the Rams, the LA Rams of next year. I love the direction they're going. I thought they aced the draft. Their first 3 picks are all really good. They're all starting, the corner, the linebacker, and the defensive tackle. The other thing is they get Garoppolo, and they're awful now, meaning they're going to have the first or second pick. Meaning if Garoppolo isn't the guy, then go get Darnold or Rosen. Or if he is, then go get 4 picks for the number 2 pick. There's really very little risk here. You kick the tires with him. Let's say after like the 8 weeks, you're like, he doesn't click our system, it doesn't work. All right, I got the number 2 pick. I can go get a quarterback or trade it for multiple picks. I don't think there's any loss here, and I really do.
If he doesn't work, Colin, they've given up the 33 to 34th pick in the draft.
Okay, but all you do is negotiate from a position of power with that in April with that number 2 pick. So I don't think there's a lot to lose here. I don't.
Nothing to lose. As far as I'm concerned, a second-round pick, for a potential franchise quarterback? I played 17 years. How many times in Kansas City did you see these guys first-round picks, second-round picks, third-round picks? It doesn't matter. You're just a crapshoot anyway. You never know which one's really going to pan out and work out. So them looking at this guy, the small body of work for a second-round draft choice, I say absolutely. I say it was a great trade going forward because you never ever know. And it's that second-round pick that they could have gotten could be somebody who was a bust anyway. It doesn't matter.
Belichick has second and third round whiffs. No. Everybody whiffs in the draft, don't they? Pete Carroll had a first-round whiff.
The draft is a crapshoot anyway, in my opinion. I don't care whether you're doing it old school, you're doing it analytically. It's a crapshoot because until you got metrics that can measure the heart, the football intelligence, and the motivation of players coming out of college, then you don't know what they're going to be because you don't know how hard they're going to work. Will the 49ers regret this? Only time will tell. The problem is he's not going to be running the system that they ran in New England. He's not going to be around the talent pool of players that he stepped in for those 4 games for Tom Brady or those 3 games before he got injured. So the unfamiliarity of being with players and being in an organization that you haven't been involved with before, I always felt that Kirk Cousins was going to be the guy that made the jump because of,
He's expensive, though.
Well, listen, if he comes in and plays halfway decent, they're going to have to pay him anyway. So what's the difference? I mean, the going rate is $20 million a year for a quarterback.
This kid has more upside than Cousins.
I think so, too.
Look, he has upside. The upside is always there when you're playing in a system that you spent 2 or 3 years perfecting and playing with a coach and an offensive coordinator that know your skill sets and put you in position to succeed. He has nothing whatsoever. The San Francisco 49ers haven't had any talent at the offensive line position and at the wide receiver and tight end position since Jim Harbaugh was there. None, okay? So there hasn't been a successful quarterback there. I don't look for this guy to come in and be successful right now either.
I'll tell you, I think your point is true. I mean, literally, coaches, assistants, players. Remember Deion Branch, how good he was in New England, went to Seattle, had green gloves. I mean, I just remember watching him run around the field and not make catches. So
Castle, Kansas City.
Yeah.
There's a long look. Romeo Crennel, Josh McDaniels, coaches
to players.
Charlie Weiss, they all have been eating off of Bill Belichick's plate, which is a mammoth plate. I'd love to get a bite of it. Because everybody gets paid, everybody gets these huge contracts, but no one produces when they leave. And so, but again, I'll just go back to this. I'm a gambler at heart. This is a good bet. And if I lose this bet, I can live with it.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a good bet, safe bet. Welcome back, Tony Gonzalez. Seth Joyner again are here. Let's move to the Cowboys. Ezekiel Elliott, whose 6-game suspension is back in place after being denied an injunction against the league's original decision to suspend him. Elliott has decided to continue his legal fight and file yet another appeal. Meanwhile, Jerry Jones went after Roger Goodell this morning.
I can show you many positive things that this commissioner, Roger, has done, is doing. And I can show you some things that he wants to take back. This is a very example of it. I'm sure he'd like to take back his initial Ray Rice stance and a few others. And he's in the process of having tried to correct that. And in doing so, Zeke is a victim of an overcorrection.
Whitlock, Jerry's been defending Zeke since August, reportedly blocking Roger Goodell's contract extension. Do you have an issue with Jerry continually questioning the commissioner's decision-making?
No, I don't. I think that's his job. And I listened to that entire Jerry Jones interview on radio, and it was fascinating because he started talking about accountability and whether or not the ownership has been holding Jerry accountable. And he said, yeah, we do it all the time. And he goes, but the real place where there's a chance to show accountability is at contract time. And I don't blame Jerry Jones and other NFL owners for saying Rodgers had a lot of messes and it's time to hold him accountable. I think people will point to the Zeke issue, obviously the national anthem crisis that they got going on, the ratings drop. I don't blame Jerry Jones and other people. They pay this guy $40-some-odd million a year. Hell yeah, criticize him.
Which is below the average CEO pay for a $14 billion a year business. I respect Roger Goodell for pushing back. Very few people say no to Robert Kraft. and Stan Kroenke and Jerry Jones. You know what happens to people who say no to billionaires? They're unemployed. This is a hard job. And the NFL's been king for so long, nobody has told any of these guys no. They've literally owned a stock, and it's done this for 30 years. And Roger Goodell's the first guy that's had to say Deflategate and Zeke and these high-profile owners who are now, they're stars. Robert Kraft is a star. These are stars, bigger than their players, and they don't like it. And I think
about that now.
No, well, no, right. There's a handful of great, but I mean, Jerry in America is an icon. Robert Kraft is at every party Hollywood has.
Yeah.
And it's like, we got a commissioner now that's like, I'm not getting pushed around by you guys. You're okay with Jerry. I'm okay with Goodell pushing back.
This is what they asked for. You know, Jason, you always talk about the players wanted Roger Goodell to be judge, jury, and executioner. Yeah. The owners wanted Roger Goodell to take this mantle and run the league. And that's what he's done. Now, everybody's going to make some mistakes. Everybody's going to make some mistakes in judgment. You know, he's done that. Where was Jerry Jones? Was he not on his soapbox and his pedestal when Tom Brady got his 4-game suspension? Okay, all of this stems around the fact that this is his player, his team.
I don't like it.
And it's blocking their potential opportunity to get to a Super Bowl and try to catch the Philadelphia Eagles.
What if he's right?
That's right.
What if he's right, though? What if, it's an if, what if he firmly believes, and he's right, that Ezekiel Elliott, there's an overcorrection here. This is related to Ray Rice. They don't have the evidence or the goods on Ezekiel Elliott, and this is inappropriate.
I don't dispute that, you know, because no one will know all the facts. The only people that know exactly what happened is Zeke and that young lady. That's the only two that really know, okay? I don't dispute that. But the problem is the NFL gave Roger Goodell this power. So now how do you turn around and push against that now when you were the ones that gave him the power? He's doing what you asked him to do. It's not like they don't have a direct line to him. It's not like they can't pick up their phone, hey, Roger, you know, this is what we want you to do. This is how we want you to handle this. They're making him the scapegoat. And to me, that's wrong.
I don't have a problem at all. To me, Jerry can do whatever he wants. If it doesn't mean anything's going to get hurt, he's doing, because of everything that's going on there in the thick of this playoff hunt, now they got to go see if they can win without their best football player. And now he's calling Goodell out for past mistakes, which Goodell, by the way, we talked about this yesterday, he has been the first one to say, I handled it wrong on certain things. He's admitted his mistakes. This is why I like him so much. Do I agree with everything that he's done? Do I agree with the power that has been given to him? I think he abuses it sometimes, yes. But at the same time, he's always self-correcting. He's always trying to get it right. And that's what I've always appreciated about it, Goodell. But right now, look, going forward, come on. He's trying to go to the playoffs. Of course he's going to complain about it.
You say, what if there's an overcorrection? Well, this is a public business. This isn't like waste management. These are public businesses. Sometimes in public businesses, television companies, football teams, you do have to overcorrect for the market. Optics matter. And you're right. I do think there may be an argument to be made he overcompensated. But did he do that holistically to protect the image of the league? We are pro-woman, pro-supporting women, protecting people. If he did overdo it, Goodell can make an argument it was for the betterment of the league.
Listen, you're paid $40 million, even if he's underpaid at $40 million. When you're the CEO of a major corporation, you're paid for foresight. You're supposed to be ahead of the conversation. You're not supposed to be correcting mistakes. You're supposed to be the guy that said, I told you guys this is what was going to happen, and that's why we did X, Y, and Z, so we were prepared. And as these owners sit back there and look, they have every right to say, if Jason Whitlock could sit in Los Angeles and say, you know what, this Kaepernick thing, y'all better get out in front of this because it's going to spin into the 2017 season. That's what they're hammering Roger for because it's so crystal clear and so obvious. I wrote about it before the season in the Wall Street Journal. If I could see what was coming this storm, why couldn't Roger Goodell? I don't get paid $40 million. I don't have all the information and access that he does. They have every right to hammer this dude for a lack of foresight. And I said, when he took on the job of being the discipline czar, I wrote the column at the Times, this is wrong. This is going to lead to problems. When you're the president, you're not also the attorney general because crime and punishment is messy, and you have to fire the attorney general. There needs to be a separation of powers.
Maybe you should be commissioner.
Foresight is the job.
I submit to you that the Colin Kaepernick storm was a storm that they could not control. There was nothing that they can get out in front of it.
Ahead of it, though.
I mean,
it's like a hurricane.
You can't
stop it. It may damage everything, but you can be more prepared for it than they were.
But you can't stop it.
Don't forget one thing. Since he's been in that position, how much money has the league made? How much growth has been accomplished? Yes, he's missed a couple things, but those billionaires are billionaires and 10 times over now because
they can all thank Pete Rozelle for it more than Roger Goodell. Well, yesterday's decision leaves the Cowboys with a lot of uncertainty. Elliott has decided to appeal, so his suspension could be put back on hold. Then again, it might not be, which means Dallas could still be looking at 6 weeks without their star running back. And Dak Prescott is not nearly as good without Zeke in the backfield, with his completion percentage, yards per attempt, and passer rating all plummeting. Cowherd, if Zeke ends up being suspended, do you trust Dak to carry the Cowboys?
No. I think last year was the perfect storm. I think he's good. I think he's closer to an Alex Smith than a Kirk Cousins. Better than Kirk, not as good as Alex, which means you can win a bunch of games. It's like Bucky Brooks always says, you're a tractor or a trailer, you're pulling them or being pulled. He had the perfect storm, a fourth-place schedule, this dynamic young running back nobody knew.
You're back to Dak and Dunk, huh?
Well, there's a lot of truth to it. This year, everything, Dez suddenly doesn't separate. Zeke's not playing. Offensive line issues. First place schedule. Everybody's got film on Dak and a summer to work on him. He is not Wentz. He's not Russell Wilson. He's not. He went in the 4th round for a reason. He's not a super.
Go ahead and say Dak and Dunk. That was a great nickname last year.
There's a lot of truth to that. He is a little Dak and Dunk.
I'm not ready to go there with you. I still see a guy that we talked about last year that looked like a young Warren Moon. Same body type. Again, ball comes out of his hand pretty easily.
He is accurate.
But I think your criticism and your read, and I wouldn't even call it criticism. No, I'm just saying he's a good player, but not a guy that's going to carry.
He's not going to be a superstar. Again, Alex Smith has won 65% of his games. But he's not the handful of great ones.
Well, he's the MVP candidate right now, but I hear what you're saying, Alex Smith.
Do you think he can carry him? You watch these Cowboys and Eagles.
First of all, I want to thank the stats department for putting that stat up that they put up right before, because I've been saying this all along. I've been saying this since last year. If you figure out a way to stop Ezekiel Elliott, you make this football team an average team. Because it affects it in 2 ways. The offense isn't as potent if they don't have the play-action pass. Now, don't get me wrong, Dak, and I disagree with you. I think Dak is going to be great. Not good. I believe he's going to be great. No young quarterback comes into this league and in year 2 just explodes. What you see with Carson Wentz, listen, he has all the tools. I think he's a better quarterback when we run the ball. And for the first time, 2 games ago, I watched him take that team and hoist it on his shoulders and win a game. So there's a lot of hope there. But I think Dak is going to be great. But the way you beat the Cowboys is you take Zeke away and you make Dak beat you. And if you can keep the score even, it exposes that defense even that much more. It's easy to play defense when you got a 14, 21-point lead, but that defense stinks. And when it's 0-0, 14, 14, 21, 21, if you go back and look at all of their losses, there are 6 losses over the last, I forget how many games, but the last 2 years leading up to now, I can guarantee you they stopped Zeke. They made Dak try to beat him, and the defense got exposed.
Yeah, well, we're going to find out. I'll tell you that right now. But by the way, he will be a superstar because he's playing for the Dallas Cowboys. I don't know if he'll be one of the best quarterbacks in the league, but I'm with you there, too. I think for sure he's going to be a really good quarterback. I had a chance to spend some time with him at the Pro Bowl last week, and just watching him throw, interact with the rest of the guys, he's got that quarterback what you want, that leadership from a leadership standpoint. But he can make throws. He can play this game. The silver lining in this, to me, is now we're going to find out, and every player in the NFL, it doesn't matter if you're Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, myself, I'm sure it was with you, you're going to go through those bumps in the roads. I don't care if you come in this hot, you're going to have to go. Everybody has to go through it once in a while. I think we'll see their team, and he's going to go through that, and we're going to see how it responds. And this type of stretch, these next 6 games, is going to set the tone for the rest of his career. I'm really excited to see how it goes for these next 6 games.
All right, time for last call. Let's move to Miami, where the Dolphins just sent one of their best players, Jay Ajayi, to the Eagles, and they were shopping receiver Jarvis Landry as well, though the trade never happened. The shakeup comes just a few days after Adam Gase went off on his offense for being unprepared in that 40-0 loss to the Ravens. Cowherd, do you have an issue with Gase trading away one of his stars?
Or maybe several. Yeah, it feels temperamental and emotional. Belichick has dominated this league because he's not emotional and he's not temperamental. It's almost a math equation when it comes to personnel. This feels like a coach is in a bad mood. Team didn't play well. I'm furious. I'm moving pieces. I don't like it.
This feels like he's trying to get back control of that locker room. They've had an offensive line coach that was snorting white powder. It got run off the team. It's in Miami, where partying and having a good time is key. This kid is a handful.
That's what I've heard.
And so it sounds like a guy that wants back control of his locker room, had to send a message. We'll see how this plays out for the Eagles, see if they bought proper goods in Philadelphia. All right, to Charlotte, where another big trade came down today as the Panthers sent starting receiver Kelvin Benjamin to the Bills for a couple of draft picks. Cowherd, should Cam be bothered that the Panthers traded away one of his top targets?
He is their leading receiver, almost 500 yards. He is not a difference maker in terms of wins. They don't play better when he has a lot of catches. But I'm Cam Newton. I'm not overly accurate or precise. He is a big catching range. He's a big target. And we're in a dogfight because the Saints are for real and the Falcons have pulled back. And all I hear now is, hey, we got picks in the future. You know this. Cam's an emotional player. How is he reacting now? They're playing the Falcons this week. It's the biggest game of the season. You think he's happy?
I'm not. Cam's unpredictable, so I cannot predict.
And you're a Cam fan.
He's unpredictable, so I don't know how. Maybe he doesn't like Kelvin Benjamin. Maybe he loves him. Maybe he's upset. From an organizational standpoint, though, big target. They've given him Curtis Samuel, Christian McCaffrey, smaller targets. This, to me, seems like they may be preparing to draft a quarterback next year, not in the first round, but in the second or third round, and start coming up with their plan B. This feels a little bit like they're unsure about Cam Newton more than Kelvin Benjamin.
I think there's something there. I mean, listen, they said in the offseason, they kind of sent the message out is that it's not working the way we want. Then they draft McCaffrey. We have to get him a different player. He's been okay. To your point, the succession plan, it kind of feels like you have the Falcons this week. This is the biggest game of the year.